Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of our daily news program. To the headlines. In New York, the President of the Republic receives the President of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, on the eve of the 78th Ordinary Session of the UN General Assembly. And Algeria's continued support for the Palestinian cause is once again put forward. The President of the Republic meets his Swiss counterpart Alain Berset and the President of Ghana Nana Akufo-Addo and the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran Ibrahim Raisi in New York City. The 2023-2024 school year will be a year of novelties on many aspects for the benefit of the Algerian pupils. And rescue teams, including Algerian civil defense teams, are redoubling their efforts in Libya in quest of finding more bodies, as reported by our special envoy Hisham Sadoudi. Good evening and welcome back. We start off our news with the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, who received on Monday in his residency in New York his Palestinian counterpart, Mahmoud Abbas. This meeting, held on the eve of the 78th Ordinary Session of the UN's General Assembly, was attended by the Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad Minister and Algeria's Permanent Representative at the United Nations, respectively Ahmed Attaf and Ammar bin Jama. Let us now have a listen to the statement made by the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas.
تشرفت الآن بلقاء فخامة الرئيس.
I was honored to meet the President of the Algerian Republic. This meeting enabled us to discuss important subjects, in particular the Palestinian cause. I salute the position of Algeria, which has never renounced its historic role with regard to Palestine and its people, since it is of great support and committed to its support for Palestine, the land, the people, and the cause. And we as Palestinians know this very well, and we are convinced that if the Palestinians need help, Algeria will be the first country to offer its assistance in support of the Palestinian people.
Still on the sidelines of his participation at the UN's General Assembly, the President of the Republic met in New York the President of the Swiss Confederation, Alain Berset. The President of the Republic equally met the President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo. The meeting took place in the presence of the Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf, as well as Algeria's Permanent Representative of the United Nations, Ammar bin Jama. Still in New York, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, met the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ibrahim Raisi. The meeting took place in the presence of the Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf, as well as Algeria's Permanent Representative at the United Nations, Ammar bin Jama. And at the United Nations Assembly, Algeria is on the good path to achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that the member countries have committed to achieve by 2023. Rani al-Bahri will tell us more.
The Summit on Development, which opens the high-level week of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, is being held in a context of unprecedented geopolitical tensions for decades. Today, it is a question of taking stock on the 170 Sustainable Development Goals adopted by UN member states in 2015 to build a better and more sustainable future by 2030. Leaders from around the world are meeting here in New York to discuss the major issues that are shaking our planet in an attempt to put the world back on the path to a greener, cleaner, safer and more equitable future for everyone. In a declaration adopted by consensus during the summit, The UN countries committed to act without delay to realize this action plan for humanity, the planet, prosperity, peace and partnership, leaving no one behind side. It was an excellent journey, especially on the deadlines to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The eyes of the whole world are on you. Young people and civil society organizations come the weekends to UN premises to demand urgent actions. It is time to prove it. We can succeed if we respond now. If we keep our promise to billions of people, the future is in our hands. Only 12% of the 140 SDG targets are on track. Nearly half of them are seriously behind schedule, and about 30% haven't progressed or have fallen below the target line. Starting from 2015, according to current trends, 575 million people will still live in extreme poverty in 2030, and only a third of countries will reach the target of halving national poverty levels. For its part, Algeria is in the first African Arab rank in the 2022 World Ranking of the Odd Index, with an overall index of 71.54, a score which can be interpreted as a rate of achievement of the 17 Sustainable Development Objectives that governments are called upon during this summit.
And especially if you're youth.
Moving on to cooperation, Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman received on Monday the President of the Council of Shura of the Sultanate of Oman, Sheikh Khalid bin Hilal bin Nasser Al Mawali. Both parties expressed their satisfaction regarding the relations between the two countries and their willingness to further strengthen and diversify them. In another story, no less than 11 million pupils will resume classes on Tuesday. 2023-2024 will be a year full of novelties, notably in terms of organization and technical aspects. Story by Sabrin Tevergenit.
11 million pupils and more than 500,000 teachers will be back to school this September 19, 2023. The national education sector's executives have high hopes for this year's back to school, as many improvements and new features are installed. First of all, physical and sports education is well supervised in the primary cycle for the first time in the Algerian school, with the introduction of 12,000 budgetary jobs, as well as the implementation of new subjects such as road safety education in this cycle and the recruitment of 400 school life assistants to support autistic pupils. The start of the new school year will also be marked by the first baccalaureate in the arts for students at the Ali Maashi National Arts High School. Among the new features for the start of the 2023-2024 school year are the continued introduction of English language for the 4th grade in primary schools at Tamazight, and the expansion of the use of tablets by equipping 1,200 new elementary schools. In this context, 72,000 tablets will be produced by INI and the public company Al-Fatran, 48,000 of which have already been received by educational establishments. Other measures have been taken to ensure a successful start to the new school year, including the continuation of digitization operations in the sector, notably digitization of access to all decrees and decisions relating to pupil school life, and the digitization of recruitment for teachers in all subjects in the 3 teaching cycles. On the other hand, the Minister of Education Abdel Hakim bin Abed highlighted that all material and human means are mobilized to have a smooth school year. I can assure everyone that all means are mobilized to achieve a successful new school year. We've started preparing for the new school year since November 2022, and I can say that we are 100% ready. The success of this event also depends on infrastructures. New schools for the 3 cycles have already been opened, and others will be opened in the upcoming days in several provinces of the country to reduce the pressure on certain regions. Concerning school allowance, it will be distributed to the concerned pupils before the start of the school year. Great efforts have also been made to provide catering and school transport, in particular in the isolated areas.
In a different context, and following the recent reshuffle proceeded by the President of the Republic at the level of governors and deputy governors, the Interior Minister installed Mustafa Limani as the new governor of Serif province. Ibrahim Arad took the opportunity to stress the importance of providing quality public services, which requires all managers to work with the governor to meet the challenges, which aim above all to achieve the President of the Republic's program. The 47th Ordinary Session of the Council of Arab Central Bank Governors and Monetary Institutions wound up on Monday. A series of recommendations were adopted by the participants reflecting the need of convergence of views among the Arab countries, notably in light of the recent developments. The participants also highlighted the importance of investing Arab budget surplus in the region, as well as the need to coordinate efforts to preserve and improve the living standards. And in commemoration of the 56th anniversary of the proclamation of the Algerian Provisional Government on September 19th, the Ministry of Mujahideen organized a historical conference in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Researchers and academics reviewed the circumstances surrounding the creation of the GPRA and its contribution to voice the Algerian Revolution to the world. Abroad, a call for French recognition of the Sahrawi Republic has been made. This was on the occasion of the round table organized in Ivry-sur-Seine as part of the Humanity Day. The speakers called on France to recognize Western Sahara as a step forward, a step towards a peaceful resolution of the Western Saharan conflict. And Libya is still counting its dead after the tragic storm that hit the east of the country. The aid and rescue operations that also include Algerian civil defense teams are doubling their efforts in quest of recovering more bodies. Let's follow this update compiled by our special correspondent Hisham Sadoudi, taken up by Ines Gilou.
A state of alert within the Algerian civil defense teams. The news has just come through. An immediate intervention is required in an area of 30 kilometers east of Derna. Once there, the team finds themselves facing almost impassable terrain. The steep rocky cliffs had to be climbed down, and paths dotted with rugged terrain had to be crossed to reach the dozens of lifeless bodies that could already be seen floating in the distance. After a meticulous exploration of the area, the team returned to the headquarters. The following morning, after defining the procedure to be followed, the team headed back to the site, and it was necessary to walk for more than an hour to finally begin the process of recovering the remains.
We were able to recover the bodies, but getting to this place was very difficult as our cars couldn't reach it, and we had to walk several kilometers to get here carrying our equipment.
Armed with their courage and determination, but also with a precise work plan, they camped the whole area and managed to recover the bodies of several victims, giving grieving families the opportunity to bury their dead with dignity.
Nothing will stop us from carrying our mission to find the missing and bring comfort to the bereaved families.
This
was the most difficult operation we have been involved in since we arrived here, and nothing would have been possible without the colossal efforts made by the civil defense personnel here. We were able to extract 45 bodies, but there are still many that were swept away by the floods. We are going to continue the work until all the remains have been recovered.
126 bodies have been recovered by the Algerian civil defense personnel since the beginning of the operations in the areas affected by the floods in Libya. Committed and dedicated to their mission, they are working tirelessly to return the bodies of the victims to their families in order to provide them with the minimum level of comfort.
Another country affected by a natural disaster is Morocco. The earthquake that hit the country resulted in considerable material and human losses. Many residents found themselves in an extremely difficult situation and without help. Story by Rania Bahri.
الدوار ما لقيتو كامل راب والعائلات مشطه شي مات يعني كل شيء متشرد.
These testimonies reflect the pain and frustration felt by many Moroccans who feel abandoned by the Makhzen after the devastating earthquake. I found our photos under the rubble. In this photo, my little brother was only 6 years old, and he just died. If you saw him after removing the rubble, it looks like he was sleeping. I found him under the rubble and brought him out. Ruined buildings, streets destroyed. The inhabitants of the region, already shaken by the disaster, are now faced with even more difficult challenges. But what is even more difficult for these Moroccans is the absence of rescuers. Families feel abandoned, forced to face the scale of this disaster alone. We would be relieved if those responsible were here to help us. There are a lot of dead bodies, and we only have 2 vehicles to transport them. Here, all the basic infrastructures have been destroyed. No more water, no electricity. Even in these times of crisis, the Mahsen regime persists in its silence and remains indifferent to the calls for help from its population.
In Palestine, the Arab Parliament denounced the attack on the Al-Aqsa Mosque carried out by the settlers under the protection of the Zionist authorities. It also denounced the closure of Ibrahimi Mosque in the city of Al-Khalil, affirming that these actions only keep on worsening the situation and threaten the stability of the region. Back to Algeria, more precisely to Bijaya province, to visit one of the most beautiful sites of the country, namely Cap Carbon. Our reporter Ines Kalou will take us through it.
Cap Carbon, a natural gem that attracts visitors from all over the world. This tourist site offers a breathtaking experience, combining scenic beauty with a fascinating geological history. We came with friends to swim and relax. I really like the landscapes. It's a tourist site that charms all visitors. I didn't know there were such places in Algeria. A lot of families choose this destination to enjoy with their children before the start of the new school year. I came from Shlif with my children to visit this site. We had a great time. I took the children to Cap Carbon for a breath of fresh air before the start of the new school year. The scenery here is really beautiful, the air is pure, and I really enjoy it. The best known sites are Cap Carbon and Yimaguraya. In fact, even foreigners know Yimaguraya. Captivating the hearts and the minds of those lucky enough to visit it, Cap Carbon embodies the magic of nature. A tourist region par excellence, the Cap Carbon is becoming the preferred destination for foreign and Algerian visitors eager to discover the great Algerian nature. And with that, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.